is it even worth pursuing art as a career anymore? Now, how's that for a grabby title, a clickbaity title, if you will? But it's not an unreasonable question to ask yourself in this day and age. You ever get that feeling that your art goals are just so far away and competition is freaking fierce? There's the economy and there's AI and there's all the layoffs and the game industry is like shrinking, and it just feels like it's an insurmountable task to try to even sit down and put in the work and build that skill anymore. And it's like, how am I supposed to get so good that people notice and recognize my work, and yet I don't have the time? I've already got, bills to pay. I got all these other things I got to be doing, obligations. Is it even worth having art goals? Is it even worth dreaming of making games or becoming an artist on animated movies? Is it even worth it to pursue this goal anymore? And man, let me tell you, those questions, they don't stop. It's like I've been dealing with that question every year of my life for the last 30 years. And it never really gets easier. And I've seen a lot of people quit. And I don't even want to say they're wrong. If not making art is right for you, then don't make art. But if you're like me and doing something creative, making things is like a part of your soul, that is your identity, and you couldn't imagine not doing that any more than you could imagine not breathing, well then that's what we're going to talk about. Is the art dream even worth it? Well, I would say yeah, and yet we sometimes just need to be reminded of how to stay on that course, even when it seems like the goal is an impossible, out of reach pipe dream. So how are you going to do that? Well, the answer is in the baby steps. And I'm going to tell you, this is something it's been on my mind a lot lately, because I've come to realize that as someone, I've accomplished a lot. I've done a lot of the things that I set out to do. And when I look back now, I realize that it wasn't even about accomplishing those things that was satisfying. It was the actual journey itself. We've all heard this before, right? The journey is the destination, but it's never been more true and never been more apparent to me that the actual almost painful process of learning and putting in the hard times, digging through the muck, digging through the shadow self, digging through the hard stuff, that I'm ultimately looking back and feeling like those were some of the best things, because they showed me this is what you had to sacrifice to get it. And this has become very apparent to me recently as I'm learning a new engine. So I go on YouTube and I look up other tutorials, and I'm finding myself constantly running into these roadblocks. It's like they expect you to know the tools already. They expect you to already have a pretty good grasp of how the engine works before you even get to their tutorial. And it's like, well, I'm just stumped. I'm just frustrated. I don't want to do it. I don't want to cross the mountain that's way off in the distance, because I can't even get past this little river that's right in front of me. And I came to this realization that I'd been here 1,000 times before. I want to do something hype, so I look up a tutorial on how to do this really awesome looking thing. And then because I want to be impressive, I want to make something that impresses myself. And so I jump ahead, and I didn't realize, and I always do this still happens, and I know this happens with many of you with art as well, and on your own journey, you might be in different places, but you want that awesome level of achievement right out of the gate. And so you're looking for the shortcut, you're looking for the quick way there. And what you really need to be doing, this is what I realized for myself, is I need to slow the hell down, get to the fundamentals of something simple, build something unimpressive, but complete it so that I have these cornerstones, these pillars that I can then build the next layer on top of. Without building that foundation, you cannot build a structure on top of it. You can't use those cheats and shortcuts if you don't have good foundations, because anything that you build is going to be lucky, if you're lucky, unless if you have an incredible level of comprehension, which most of us don't, and you're not stupid for not getting it right away. It's like these things are hard. You're retraining your brain how to do very complex, advanced things. That's what makes the thing impressive to begin with. So I'm taking a step back and I'm going to make something sort of unimpressive. I don't need to show it to anybody. I'm going to build something small in this engine, and I'm going to build on top of that, use that as my foundation. And sometimes you're doing a tutorial and it's like, you just get stumped and you can't figure out what they're trying to explain. You get stuck and you feel like you just wasted 2 hours, and you're like, I don't have 2 hours to waste. I should be getting something more out of this. But sometimes you got something out of it you just didn't notice or recognize what that was. So I started actually keeping a journal of things that I'm learning so that I can give quantifiable bullet points to something that I might not remember. You know, when you look back, you might not remember, oh man, I actually got a lot out of that tutorial. But if you write out your progress in bullet points, you're sort of like making it solid. You're making it quantifiable. Now you can look at it at the end of a week or something and go, wow, I learned a lot this week. And that's why oftentimes we give up and we quit, because we can't see the progress, because the progress is slow, right? So by writing it down, you're sort of like giving it this, it's like you're laying down a railroad tracks or something. Like you can see the road you've traveled upon in a sort of a physical or visible way. And that feels good. That's your progress on your journey. It's not looking at just the destination. It's quantifying and valuing the journey itself, which never really ends anyway. So it's a wonderful thing for sort of keeping your head in the game and keeping yourself focused on what's immediately right in front of you, because you could look at that list and you could go, oh, you know, I kind of figured out how to rig models today, but maybe I could like do a more complex IK rig now, you know, or something like that, the next step, which you couldn't get to that next step if you didn't do the previous steps. The thing I want to re-emphasize, and this is really something that I feel like I need to remind myself of from time to time as well, it's that you only have to focus on the river that's right in front of you, the obstacle that is literally within 10 feet of where you're going. Like, what is the thing right in front of you? And I know, dude, like, here's the thing. You look at the mountain, that's where you want to be. You're thinking of the destination. You're thinking of where your plane is going to land. You want to be on vacation already. You don't want to deal with the long flight. You don't want to deal with the uncomfortable person sitting in the chair next to you that can't seem to fit in the chair, and they're always leaning. They nod off and they fall on your shoulder, and like, you know, they got a crying baby on the flight. You don't want to deal with the journey, but the journey is where the part of the adventure lies. And in fact, the journey is what makes the adventure worthwhile. And what I'm getting at here is the same thing with learning art. It's the same thing with learning the skills necessary to get to where you want to go. And this is definitely true if you're in game development. It's definitely true if you're an artist and you're just learning to develop your skills as an artist. It's true if you're trying to build a profession and a career out of your art and animation or game development or whatever it might be. Oftentimes we get obsessed with looking at the goal, and that's good because it helps us to lay out our path. But when we can't get to our goal easily or fast enough, or we don't seem to be feeling like we're making progress, we get frustrated and we give up. And why? Why is this important? Because ultimately, once you do accomplish the goal, sometimes it's really kind of unsatisfying, especially if it was easy. It's very unsatisfying if it's easy. And this is the reason why I don't really concern myself too much with, like, for example, AI artists. If they get those jobs, or if they get all that attention really easily, they'll bounce off of it really quickly. Then they move on to the next thing that's easy. If everything in your life that you're pursuing is just whatever was easiest, then you're going to be bouncing around an awful lot, and you're not going to really value the thing that you put in all the years learning to do, and not just learning to do, but really training yourself to do it and love it. Like, learn to love the process, learn to love the journey, and it'll never leave you. And because you'll always appreciate it, you'll appreciate all the pillars, all the foundations that you set, all that train track that you laid down on your journey, on your path, that's unique to you. And you value it because you sacrificed to get it. You know, it's one of the things that I'm actually excited about the video game industry, for example. It's the industry I've worked in for a long time, and I love this industry. And one of the things I'm actually excited about it, the fact that it's contracting, it's like, hey, maybe the people who were just here for the money and for the quick wins and the quick rewards and jumping on the bandwagon, well, maybe they're gone in a few years. Maybe all the AI artists, they bounce off of game development and get into something else because there's just not a reward there for them anymore, or it was too easy of a reward. So now it's move on to the next thing, and good, you know? But I love making games. I love game development. I love the artistry of it, the craftsmanship of it. I love writing and drawing comics and developing my storytelling skills. Now, I don't see any joy in pressing prompts or having a computer figure things out for me. I enjoy staying up late into the evening, listening to old music and just drawing. Like the process of discovery along the way, like that's something you'll never get by just using the shortcuts. And so like, that's where I'm going to be. I'm going to be in those, I want to be smushing those pixels around till my last breath probably, because a long time ago, I fell in love with the process of it and not the reward of it. So yeah, is it worth it? Yeah. If you're in love with the process, if you're in love with the craft, but not if you're in love with the results. Every single day, I learn new things about game development, and I learn new things about art, and I learn new things about my craft, and it's a constant thrill. I beat my head against the wall at times. It's frustrating at times, but you know what? It all compounds, man, and it all just builds on itself. And then you finally put something together, you release it, and ultimately watching people play those games that you've made, even if it's not a bestseller, it's not like at the top of the Steam page or whatever, it's still super rewarding. It's the best damn kind of a career choice I could have made for myself anyway, but that may not be true for you. You know, if you're very like, well, I need X number of dollars to be happy, or if I need X number of followers online to be happy, well, then maybe it's not worth it. But I think the same is true with YouTube. I think the same is true with pursuing, a career in animation, for example. If you're only focused on, well, like, I gotta have all the approval of everybody else, or I've gotta have all the money, or I've got to have the awards or whatever, man, you might end up really disappointed, and that might be a very miserable life for you, but that's why it's a very internal thing. I can only speak for myself, and, honestly, yeah, it's totally worth it because I love the process. Nah. Obviously, I love helping people along on their journey. Everybody's at a different place, and so I've made a ton of workshops over on my Gumroad channel, but you can pick up my free digital artist starter kit if you're looking to just dip your toe in the water and get into digital art. It's a wonderfully rewarding thing to be able to, imagine something and then see it visually. Like, that's just super rewarding. I couldn't imagine not being able to do that. It's like breathing to me. It's like air. So I love to be able to share that with you guys. So please do subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, ciao.